My name is Taylor Petrie, and this is my video quiz number 1 for chapters 1 through 3 and 13. I'm going to go through the questions one by one, starting with what was the key idea or ideas that stood out in this chapter to you. For chapter number 1, I thought it was the fact that employers see communication competency as your number 1 skill when hiring or thinking about hiring. I think that's really important because based on any type of career path or job that you choose to take on, you will have some sort of communication or public speaking opportunity, depending on if it's just interacting with other people or if it's actually putting a presentation on for a group of people. You'll always need that sort of skill to use during your career. So another thing that I found really important was the feedback, the verbal and nonverbal. I never really thought of the nonverbal as being something to focus on, but definitely looking at the body language of your audience and seeing how they're reacting, or if they look like they're understanding, or if they have any questions for your verbal responses as well. You can definitely do that. For chapter number 2, I thought preparation and rehearsal were really important because you can't just go straight into a speech without practicing or without preparation. Using some sort of outline to help you guide yourself and keep organized when transitioning from topic to topic is really important. Also, one thing from the chapter 2 was the confidence that you would need working towards it. Not everyone can start out really confident, but you can definitely work towards it as a way to develop your public speaking skills as well. Number 3, so chapter number 3, I thought it was really important about the diversity and knowing your audience, focusing on who you're talking to, how you need to address your audience, how you need to speak to your audience, what information is going to be more important for them, what's going to stand out more to them. Is it relevant to them? Is it irrelevant? Is it appropriate? So depending on who you're talking to, if you're talking to children, you're going to use a little bit of a different language than when you're talking to adults. So it's very different, and knowing your audience can really help you succeed in how you present and your public speaking development skills. For question 2, what did you learn in this chapter that you did not know before reading it? For chapters 1 and 2, I kind of already knew a lot of what was going through. Chapter 1, the nonverbal feedback is something that I never really thought about, and the number 1 skill being communication competency is what really caught my eye for those, because those were kind of new territory for me. As far as number 2, though, I'm very, very close with the idea of preparation and rehearsal. Being a part of theater has been a huge part of my life, so always somehow getting an understanding of what needs to come next or how you need to say something has been really big in my learning. So I kind of already understood most of those. The chapter number 3 that had more of like the diversity, it gave me more insight as to how to think about what you could be saying instead of contradicting, or what you shouldn't be saying, how to use your words, how to use the information that you have. So I thought those were really important when I was reading it, as well as kind of learning something new about it. Number 3, why are these ideas important to public speaking? I kind of already went over why I think that they're important. Every topic in these 3 chapters have been used specifically because they work, specifically because they're important to public speaking. And everyone uses them a little bit differently, but it just depends on how you use them and the way that you use them that can be really successful for that individual person, because everyone is different. They're going to present differently. The ones that I touched on, those are important to me because of how I've used them or how they've affected me. Although I do think that they're important, in chapter 1, there is a quote at the very, very beginning of the chapter. Since ancient times, people have used public speaking as a way to communicate big ideas, and I think that really shows how important all of this information is, especially when you look back at our history and you see like Abraham Lincoln being huge with his big speech, or you have Martin Luther King making such a big impact with his speech. So many different people in our history are known because of their speeches and their public speaking and their confidence, their passion, and all of that. And it really comes together, and the way that they use this information in these chapters really shows how these techniques or how this information can be used to develop your skills for public speaking, and why it's really important to even have the skills. Number 4, how can they be used in other areas of your personal and or professional life? In general, I think that, like chapter 1, feedback is going to be really important, because depending on any type of job that you have, it's always good to be able to accept feedback, whether it be about a job, a task, a speech, a presentation, being able to take in any type of critiquing that could possibly improve your skill set for public speaking or communications, or taking positive feedback and knowing like what you can be doing, what you are doing right, and how you can continue that as well. And for preparation and for knowing your audience, like all of that stuff, preparing for any type of situation where you're going to be working even in a new environment, rehearsing something that needs to be rehearsed, whether you work for retail and you need to know like certain things to ask, how to ask them, or knowing your audience and you're working retail again, because you can use knowing your audience as a way to help people shop. Or if you're presenting, you know who you're presenting to. If it's a bigger company who you're trying to buy out, or if you're trying to make some sort of deal with them, like it's super important to kind of understand knowing your audience, preparing yourself, gaining or giving feedback. All of it can be used in a daily life. You might not even know it, but you probably do it on a daily basis, or you accept it on a daily basis and you don't realize it. And then discussing key ideas and concepts from reading. So some of the things that popped out to me that is a pretty generalized way of looking at it: the diversity, the academic integrity, the ethics, plagiarism, critical thinking, preparation, confidence, and anxiety. They all fit together in a way. It doesn't look like it on paper, but when you go over everything, you can really fit them together. Like the ethics, the plagiarism, the integrity, those all go together. But when you use that, you can have confidence, which gets rid of your anxiety. Preparation can definitely build up your confidence. Diversity for knowing who your audience is, who you're presenting to, how to do it. And then the critical thinking, making sure that you are going over like how you're going to present. Is your information all correct? What am I thinking about? How can I ask questions before I even go in? Making sure all the overall topic has been very well-rounded and you've researched any type of aspect, negative, positive, not being biased towards any type of information. So public speaking is huge on all these different keys, and these are just some. And so I did touch on chapters 1 through 3 for all of these questions. However, chapter 13 was the online learning portion. It was very straightforward for me. I didn't really have any extra things to say about it. So it's important because we are in an online public speaking class to use. However, I didn't really see it as important as the first 3 chapters. But that does finish up my video quiz number 1, and thank you for watching.